everyone. Well, we'll go ahead and get started and let folks come back in. I think we have a really amazing panel to end on. And just to set the context, obviously we're big fans of social media and Twitter, and we know the value of that. But for an increasingly complex system that's changing rapidly, companies that it could be a double-edged sword in how you engage with social media and digital communications. And so today we have two great experts to kind of close the day on how we really bridge this gap. And so Deepak and Katie, sorry, I'm a little tired.
All good.
Yeah.
End of the day.
Yeah. But Deepak and Katie, just to kick us off, one would love for you to just tell us a little bit, where you're coming in from, tell us a little about the organization you work for, and most importantly, telling us about your best favorite game when you were growing up. And Katie, let me start with you.
Hi, I'm Katie Sloan. I'm Vice President of Customer Programs and Services at Southern California Edison. Southern California Edison, as you can guess, is in Southern California. We serve 15 million customers, 50,000 square miles, and we're very, very focused on clean energy and electrification. So that's a lot of what I do in my day-to-day job. So I love that you asked what our favorite game was growing up, because I love games. I'm super competitive. I love reading the rules, and I have a 4-year-old daughter. And so we just restarted playing Sorry, and that was one of my favorite games growing up. So yeah, happy to see everyone.
Cool, thank you, Katie. This is Deepak Garg, founder, CEO of Smart Energy Water. So guys, we are in the business of making people smart about energy and water. In 37 countries, touching billions of people, and we are very passionate about what we do to educate and empower and engage customers of utilities, which is we call people, to the energy and water ecosystem. When I was growing, sorry guys, just a little bit of stereotype, rather than sports, I was more interested in studies because parents said that you need to study harder. But I got too much into the basketball. I love Kobe Bryant. Sorry guys, we are from Los Angeles, so we love Kobe Bryant and Lakers, And I learned a lot being into and watching, not playing. I never played it, but that guys, I'm not that tall, For all the good reasons I can't play, but I learned a lot watching the basketball because I feel that it's a game of hard work, commitment, and professionalism, Just too much fun. I'm happy, Jason, thank you, and Katie, to be on this panel, Looking forward to this panel.
Well, fantastic. So right back at you, Deepak. You say you serve a global customer base. And I think just want to get your thoughts. Why is it important for us to inform them? Because we could just say, let's just do it. I mean, we heard the last panel, right? So why is it important that we bring the customers along with us in this journey?
I think in audience, if we ask, I think we're talking about energy and energy in last. I know that for good reasons. But who are those people who use energy? And I ask people, like all of other industries, we have 20% of the people who they are targeting, 30% of the people. The energy and water is being consumed by everybody. And I think in one of the sessions we talk about, Jason, is how many people can think about a life, a day, or even second without power or the water? We cannot live without water, and we cannot innovate without power. And I'm very proud as a team, as a company, we are focused on energy and water sector and the industry, because when we started, a lot of people laughed at me and a lot of people around that, hey, why are you trying to connect people to the energy and water ecosystem? Energy companies bill customer, they get the money and good to go. Why you need to think about digitally connecting customers to the water ecosystem? I said, at that time, it was like a little bit hard. Now we have all this context about digital transformation. But at this same time, I'm talking about 2010, 2012, we're spending billions of dollars to ensure that, and great reasons, to ensure that we have the best hardware, we have the best enterprise systems available to make sure we know what's going on in our transmission distribution side of the business, which is great. But who are those people using these resources? These assets are being used by billions of people who create billions of infinite need at infinite times. So if we don't connect the people to the water and energy ecosystem, then we're going to miss them and they're going to miss us, and we are not able to create that bridge which we required, because I think we are living in the world of, when we talk about energy and water, we are living in the world of reliability. We're living in the world of sustainability. We are living in the world of constant connectivity with the customer, because if we don't have the power, we don't have the water, everybody go crazy. And I think all of us have a tool for social media. I think it will, don't take people time to forget what our great power companies and energy companies do every second. Give us power and water, because when we open the tap, there's water. When we go home, what we need, the first thing, not the Apple, not Amazon, not Uber. I'm sorry to say, but a lot of people talk about Uber and Amazon as a great example. The great example is energy companies. Great example is a water company. They know how to operate the most sustainable, more reliable manner. So I'm very proud, I'm attached as a company and as a team to this industry, and keep innovating towards it.
Thank you, Deepak. And Katie, so Southern Cal Edison has some bold transformation goals: electrification, heat pumps, grid modernization. So how difficult is it to craft a plan for programs knowing you have to, a very diverse customer base, big, bold plans? So expand on that.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely difficult. Just for context for folks, Southern California Edison has the largest electric vehicle charging utility programs in the country. We serve light duty vehicles, medium, heavy duty vehicles. We're really trying to electrify everything. We have over $800 million in EV programs that we're going to be deploying in the next 4 to 5 years. So it's a pretty significant transformation. We're going from installing 500 chargers a year to up to 8,000 to 9,000 chargers a year. And the way that we do that, we're not just deploying that at highways where we're choosing the locations. We have to have a customer that wants to put charging stations at destination centers, at workplaces. So we really have to bring our customers along. And we're doing this at a time where we are having to increase rates. A lot of that is due to preventions for wildfires. And then at the same time, in California, if you haven't heard of it, we have a little thing called public safety power shutoffs, where in order to make sure that we're not sparking ignition for fires, we're turning off power. We're doing that at the same time that we're asking our customers to rely on electricity more. So it really is a challenge building that customer trust. I'd say that we have a lot of very difficult conversations, but the way that we've approached it is really focusing on the customers that have similar goals around sustainability, working with them first, and then engaging with our communities and having them be spokespeople for electrification and for our programs. I think one of the big things that we've learned as a utility is that folks don't always want to hear from a utility. So if you can find other people to take on your message, I think that really, really goes a long way. So yeah, it's hard, but it's doable.
Thank you. And Deepak, kind of picking up on where Katie had just mentioned, like, people don't always want to hear from the utility, right? So talk about that a little bit more in the context of the channels you see where your customers are finding success in engaging with their own customers and end users through digital channels, and maybe touch a little bit about how you see maybe AI really helping be a part of the solution.
No, I think I'm 100% agree. I think what definitely we've seen a more and more success in last 2 years because of the COVID across the board actually made all of us digitally connected. With the previous panel was talking about how the people life change, and I think same thing, the customer life change, and all the industry gone to the digital transformation a little bit more faster. COVID was pretty much a catalyst. What we seen from our day one, it was always to provide channel to the customers which is not being dictated by any industry. So when we say the channels, for us as a company, as a software and technology company, it was always every channel should be in the focus. Definitely the traditional channels are there, where you have a call centers and all, which is always going to be important. But in the digital channel standpoint, the web channel, the native mobile apps, the chatbots, which is like we talk about the AI, and I think one of the panelists was talking about, don't try to take the moonshot with the AI. I think the biggest problem we talk about today is we don't have the people think more deep about the problems, and this is where the AI has been very successful and the AI has not been successful because the people who are trying to solve the problem, they have a lack of the problem for understanding. So we feel all the channel. So I think if you've seen, what we've seen is a great progress of the mobile apps become the more and more prominent for the customers to connect because of security and the safety of the data and the way the Uber and Amazon change the way people look their industry when we talk about retail, when we talk about ride sharing. We applied that. And I think the most important also is, I think Katie was talking about the EV. I think that is going to drive all of us to change more because EV is not about the electric vehicles to plug in and charge it. It's create a lot of imbalance in end-to-end grid. It's creating a lot of imbalance the way the customer currently pay the power bill. Because we always talk about this is the EV, when I bought my Tesla in 2013 and 14, it was a shock to me when my electricity bill was double, And now I'm not going to tell who's my electricity provider, but the point is they are doing everything to ensure customer have the intelligence about what Katie was saying, because utilities are doing everything to ensure that first I have a 24/7 power available at my home. And on top of that is affordable too. You can't just say that, it's like an oil, you can make it. I think all of us are putting the gas in California is $6, $6.50. Power companies cannot increase the rate just like that. So how you make that happen? So the customer connectivity through the digital platform in a more proactive manner, in intelligent manner, is become the core, and is going to be the most important things for our industry. When we say our industry is energy and water industry, to be proactively provide that intelligence to take the decision and give the power to customers so they can take the decision and give the platform to take the decision on behalf of them. Because I feel the way we are going towards electrification, customers are the first one going to get impacted, and we'll be right here next year, we'll be talking more what else we can bring it to make our customer more educated and more connected, more engaged with utility. That's where I see the trends.
Thank you. And Katie, you mentioned the BOLD programs there. So what are some of those new tools or method that Southern Cal Edison is using to really reach customers? And then on top of that, who are the hardest customers for your team to reach?
Yep, and I will answer that. But first, I want to also talk a little bit about something that Deepak brought up, which is really crucial for us as we're thinking about electrification. In the studies that we've done, we found that for most customers, if they electrify their home and their vehicle, they're going to actually have a lower total energy bill, share of wallet energy. But the issue is that they aren't looking at their gas bill, their gasoline bill, and their electricity bill all at once. They're just going to see that electricity bill go up. But if you look at everything, the overall cost will go down. So that's one of the big things that we're trying to figure out how to communicate on. And that really gets to the question you asked about tools and methods and things that we're doing. Really, we're focused on transitioning from a one-size-fits-all approach of marketing that was, here's a program, everybody, here's the exact same material, to really focusing on customer segmentation and having very individualized messages that bring people along a path. Maybe you're starting with solar and storage, and then you get an electric vehicle, and we're bringing you along the way. It's not just, here's a program, let's go for it. And I think one interesting example, not related to electrification, that we're using this customer segmentation information for is around communicating to customers in the way that they want to be communicated to, whether that's the channel, if it's social media, if it's still print, depending on who the customer segmentation is, but what they want to hear. So I'll give a really specific example that we've used this segmentation for just this year. We have been seeing our electricity rates go higher at Southern California Edison. We also had a pretty cool winter, and we also had a billing issue. So we had a large portion of our customers had pretty high bills in February. This was throughout our service area. But there was one specific city, which I won't name, that got very up in arms about the increased bills, and it went to their city council. And so we engaged with their city council, and we talked a lot about rate making and public utilities commissions and regulatory type things, the normal kind of utility presentation. What we found out after that first meeting, we looked at our customer segmentation, and we found out that 70% of the people that lived in that city were a segment that really is the most skeptical of the utility. They aren't interested in hearing from the utility. And on top of that, all they want to hear about is what's in it for them. So the next time when we went and talked to the city council and engaged the community, we really didn't talk about rate making. We talked about what is it that you can do to help lower your bill. So I think that's just an example of how we're proactively using customer segmentation to communicate to people in ways where they'll actually want to hear the message that we have.
And Deepak, and kind of looking at those from the digital standpoint, is there a type of profile of consumers that you see that really fit the mold of like this is a group that's driving that digital adoption, sort of what Katie was relating to?
Is a fun part because we see, I think everybody is moving to the digital, platforms. And again, we were not able to make this statement, all of us together, pre-COVID. But I think post-COVID, I think we've seen it, a 3-year-old kid, a 5-year-old kid, to all the way to the 85-year-old person is getting on the digital. So I think this is all of us to provide those channels in the hand of our customer, because I feel as an energy and water industry, our customers every time. I think I love that when the Katie said that, the customer segmentation and personalizing, connecting proactively and giving them the decision-making capability through the platform they connected in the channel, that's the core. Because we don't want people call us to say why it is happening. We should be able to provide that intelligence to their hand to make the decision and able to understand why your bill, because I know for sure when I look my bill, I analyze my bill because I was charging my Tesla from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And doesn't matter I'm in San Diego, or I'm in Silicon Valley, or I'm in smart territory. Everybody should know that there's a peak hours and how many people will understand the peak hours. Just like tell them, this is the same way we all 15 years back were paying, that telecom industry, you have thousands minutes. If peak hours, peak minutes available, beyond that you will be paying. I think this is truly is going to be for everybody. I think I just want to just do the same question to extend a little bit. I think energy is for everybody. Every customer, every person living on earth, for good reason. I know we are talking about the North America, we're talking about the focus, but everybody need to understand and make connected to this industry. They eventually, to the Katie's point, people are thinking my electricity bill is going higher. No, it's not higher actually. In consolidation, the gas bill, I'm being very open, I'm just going to be a little bit, personal about this. I start driving all my gasoline car less. Now, I used to drive Tesla as an option for good reasons. I'm not just being sarcastic about it, but now I'm only driving Tesla. Because if $6 can make an impact in my mind, it's at $1.50 increase. Think about, and I'm not being, again, I'm being using this because I want to make sure people don't think, for all of us making $1.50 gasoline is not a big deal. But for a lot of people, it's a big deal. Same thing with a customer who paying $100 bill if that bill is going to be $200, $300, we need to explain them why it is. Because we need to tell the utilities are doing everything to make the power affordable. And we all know that sitting in this room and outside this room who are connected to this industry, every utility do all the hard work and they do everything to make sure the power or water or gas bill is affordable. Because they are mandate, they've been governed, they have all these different channel controlling and asking them the questions. So I feel that my respect for the utilities and energy companies going only up and up. I don't know, it always used to be 100%, that's why we are in this industry. But it's going because we can see the dependency. We can see that connectivity right there in front of us. And we need to do this as an ongoing activity,
Thank you, Deepak. Katie, going back to the EVs, obviously you've launched the largest program in the nation. There's a lot of utilities and partners in here that are just starting that journey. So it's a very different perspective. So can you share maybe one or two key lessons that they can take back, thinking that they're in a much different position in their journey, different policies, politics, stakeholders, all those things come into play. What's your advice to them?
Sure. I have two pieces of advice. One is to learn from others, and the second is to keep it simple. So learning from others, I don't know about you all, but I think sometimes in the utility industry, we think that we need to have our own pilot to do something. Oh, our service area is so different than anyone else's service area. We're going to have to pilot this again, even though it's been piloted by many other people. I'd really encourage folks to see who has already done a lot in the electrification space and go ahead and copy it. I think one of the best things about the energy industry that's unique from most any other industries is that we can talk to our peers in a pretty open fashion and be able to share things. So I'd really encourage people to talk to their peers, see what others are doing, use national organizations to be able to start where other people have left off and be able to move really quickly. And then on the keep it simple point of view, that's both keep it simple for your customers and keep it simple for your own internal purposes. A lot of times I think that as a utility, what I'd like to tell my team is let's not outsource the complexity of the energy industry to our customers. Let's make sure that we digest it and make it simple and easy for our customers to understand. Because I think as this is titled, keeping the attention of people in the economy era, people really don't have a lot of time. And so if we can keep it simple, you can really get engagement from your customers. And then also keep your programs as simple as possible. What I would say is use the regulatory or other tools that you have to keep things broad brush and have ability to pivot and change, because the industry that we have today isn't going to be the industry that we have in 5 years. So you want programs that are adaptable, that you can take lessons learned from your customers and make changes as you go.
Thank you. So I want to. We have a few more minutes left, so would love to get some questions from the audience in and get a chance to ask. Janie, I'll go to you.
So for me, there's like 3 generations. There's like the digital immigrants, the digital natives, and then I think there's the digital influencers. How many of you are implementing social listening to deal with misinformation of the industry?
Great question. Katie, you want to take a stab?
Sure. So the question was, how are we using digital to?
Well, I mean, the question specifically is, how are you using social listening, if any, to deal with misinformation about the industry? Because we've seen some examples already in our industry. I can tell you, recently I saw someone comparing Austin's outages map to San Antonio's during a recent, and it was like, again, 2 different situations, and yet the consumers were just like, you know. And so I had to, as a trustee, hey, have you seen this? I'm the only trustee online. Hey, have you seen this? We need to deal with this because this is a problem. Because I do social listening, but that's me as an individual
Yes.
and an organization.
Yes. Thank you so much for expanding on that. So we do use listening through social media. We have a few different teams within the organization that are actively monitoring social media to hear what customers are saying. We respond to all of any social media posts that we're tagged in. I think we're getting more advanced, and I'll go back to that example that I mentioned earlier around affordability. What we're doing right now is we're using social media and social listening to see which cities we think are going to be hotspots so that we can then deploy our local community affairs teams to those cities to do proactive outreach, not necessarily to city councils, but to the communities. So I'd say that's a tool that we're starting to use, but I think that there's more that we can do. I'd be really curious if anyone in the audience has figured out how to really work with Nextdoor. That's the one that I've found we haven't been able to crack as much. So if anyone has any tips, would love to hear that after the conversation.
And Katie, just to add what Katie said to your point, we take it as a technology platform and the technology company. The information either is a right or the noise. On the social media, this is what we, and there's only 4 to 5% data is right and 95% of the data unintentionally is somewhere is a noise. So if you informed and connected with your customer more actively, they will not look for the social media, what's going on. Because we We are right now in 37 countries, and I'm giving this, the pointers is, social media is very powerful, and other medias are very powerful outside North America. And what we've seen is, if there is a trust through a digital channel between you and your customer, and that channel can be, this is where we were expanding that, it can be web, it can be mobile app, it can be any kind of connectivity. Customer will never go and look and compare you with something else. So I think it's a proactive engagement with the customer. And to your point, people are still going to be saying certain things. And how you do that, how you, from the social media as part of a platform, what we do is, we do our full data, social media data mining. And if the data is right, and we were talking about the session before, we build those AI pretty much algorithms to ensure that if there are certain things going on, which is a good, how you differentiate between good and bad. If it is good, I'm giving example. If on social media somebody said, I have an outage going on, I'm giving this scenario. If that outage is going on where? If it is being reported by, I'm giving example, zip code X and Y and Z, we have the platform end-to-end integrated to see that if the outage management system is really reporting the same issue or not. If it is not, can the AI bot respond to that? Thank you for connecting with us on the social media. We're looking into that, and then somebody as a human will react on it. So I just feel two things to answer that. Proactive engagement through the trustworthy digital channel, and keep looking more integration to the social media to ensure you can delete or extract the noise and take the great data coming out of the social media for improvement of the customer connectivity, to improve and take the feedback, if anything, programs or whatever we are doing as an energy company, is maybe beneficial for the customer, or we need to change something.
Thank you. Want to see if there's any other questions? While you guys think of it, I think I want to end on a message we kind of started with, but we do have time for one more question just in case, is how do we embed, and Deepak, you made the point about the affordability, right? And we know this wave is coming, but how do we embed the equity into electrification, new customer programs, digital programs? And so would love some feedback on that. And Katie, I'll start with you.
Yeah, in nearly every single one of the programs that we have an equity component, whether that's equity customers getting a higher rebate for a charging station, or having a certain number of chargers that we need to put into disadvantaged and vulnerable communities. But I think the biggest piece that we've learned is to not assume that we know what people want and need, and really making sure that when we're coming up with a brand new idea or a program, that before it's fully baked, we have various community organizations that we talk to get feedback, so that we can incorporate their feedback before we roll something out. And I'd say that's been the most crucial thing as we're serving different communities. And the other area that we haven't really talked about as much, that's becoming very important for us, as I talked about public safety power shutoffs earlier, we have a lot of customers that have access and functional needs that rely on energy for survival. So we're really engaging with them to make sure that we can provide products and services so that they can survive or have various things that can help them when the power goes out. We're using that in relation to public safety power shutoffs, but we see that as something that we can use as we do any kind of outage, or as we're having customers become more resilient for climate adaptation. So really interesting area.
Thank you. And Deepak, I'll give you the last word on that.
No, I think I feel that is all inclusive, is for everybody. And again, I kind of sound like a broken record, but water is power for everybody. It's not, you can pick and choose, I want, I don't want it. So I think if everybody wants it, and I just like the way Katie said, keep listening and recalibrating how the best way we keep going and segmenting the customers and designing specific programs, rates, so that the customers who still, they have affordability to pay, they can pay it. But the people who cannot pay it, we make it affordable for them. So we need to include everything and make it, this information digitally available everywhere, in all the channels, so that nobody said, I didn't know that. Because we know that when we don't know that, we go to the social media and try to figure out, and we go to the Google and we give intelligence to those social media and the Google to become intelligent. We we want to make our industry, we want to make our utilities more intelligent by this digital connectivity so that we know what our customers are looking for and what we need to do for our customer. Because this is the connectivity, should be one-on-one. We should not have any third party to go engage with us. We don't, I'm sorry, I'm just extending a little bit. I'm sitting in the wrong place to making this statement. I don't like them when Tesla make this statement, utilities are boring. You know, they cannot do. I say, really? You guys are trying to find out on the Mars, the water and the power. I'm sorry, we are sitting here on Earth with the 7.9 billion people. You know, we need to take care of the people on the Earth first to make these most important commodity available in 24/7. That's all it is. Thank you.
Well, Deepak, Katie, I really appreciate you coming out here and great panel, great session, and just sharing some insights of all the work you guys are doing. Thank you so much. Audience, thank you so much. Can we give a round of applause here?